What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? Welcome to this tutorial of my Townsfolk Sage, I should say. And to start us off, we're using Black Templar. Now, as you see, I've already primed the model with Grey Seer Citadel, and so I wanted to use a couple of contrast paints on this. The Black Templar, I'm obviously applying to his big cloak at the back and the hood that he's wearing. I think I use about 3 contrast paints on this one, but I was just using that board behind to avoid splatter, which seems to be a little bit of an issue with these contrast paints when I'm slapping them on anyway, or if I'm doing shade washes. So that's the black cloak done. Next I went on to Gilliman Flesh for the flesh tones. Now I love this contrast paint. I think it's so far to date, this is one of my favourite contrast paints. Well, I think actually it's the favourite contrast paint I own at the moment. I don't own them all by any stretch of the imagination, but out of the ones I do have, this is my favourite because such a time saver for doing flesh, for doing that pinky flesh here. Right, Wildwood was the next, and I think the last contrast paint I used, and that was on his robes underneath. I wanted a brown cloth for that because this guy is going to be used as an NPC, and he is going to be like the town genius or whatever. But you could also use him for like as a magic user or something of that nature, or like a guild master or something. So just applying this Wild Witch, whatever it's called, contrast paint on there, and they really do. They bring up enough. They bring out the contrasts for you to see where to do your dry brushing, which is nice. Right, so just dabbling this on, making sure I get it in all the areas. And once I was happy with it, we moved on. Right, Rakar Flesh. Now this is for the scrolls that he's carrying. He's carrying like a bundle of scrolls there, and I just wanted to use the Rakar Flesh because it's a very it's an ideal parchment paper base coat. So I wanted to get that one done quite quickly. I'm trying to work inside out as best as I could for this one. It's nice and easy. He's a nice easy pose as well, so easy to paint and easy to maneuver around. So we're just applying all the base colours on first before we do any washes or anything like that. So it takes them a while to start coming together. There. Okay, Arctic White. I use this for his feather, his quill that he's carrying there, which is obviously like his pen. He has some more documents to sign, or some spells, scrolls to write up, or some histories to document. It doesn't really matter. Like I say, this guy could be a mage, he could be a sage, he could be like a librarian, he could be anything. I wanted him to have a nice bright white feather. And like I say, easy pose, so very easy to get to. Yeah. Okay, Abaddon Black. Now I just wanted his boots to be black. That was it really. I didn't want to do any fancy highlights on his boots. I didn't feel it warranted it. You know, he's going to be an NPC and he's just going to be on the table occasionally. He's not really like a main character or anything like that, but you know, he's. And the beauty with this is you can always go back in if you want to. Red Leather by Vallejo Model Colour. This is for his belt, and at least one or maybe one of the pouches. I'm not sure. Definitely for his belt. Yes, I think there was another, like a side scroll case that he's got clipped through his belt there, or he's carrying at his side. Yes, that one as well. Red leather. It's quite a nice leather colour to do. I will probably get some another contrast paint to tackle leather at some point in the future. Yeah, you see his feet's done there. There was a bit of a problem with lighting, so I had to put my hand behind. Mechanic is standard grey. Now this is for the base, because I wanted the base to be primarily grey, as I like all my bases to be. And this is going to really make him, you know, fit in nicely with my other miniatures that I've painted, so that'll be good. I've done Theatre of the Mind role-playing with D&D for so many years that it's nice to actually have figures and models to use with it now, and it's like a totally different level. There we are. So once that's dry, Xandri dust. Okay, this is going to be for another pouch ring that he's carrying. He's got like on a strap. I mean, they're all going to be like various shades of tan and brown. Then once we get this shade on, that should start making them a little bit more uniform. Sorry, the camera's gone out of focus there slightly. I don't know. Trying to get that done. That's better. Carrick stone, which is obviously very similar to Xandri dust, but we're just using that on the other side on another pouch, just to have a slightly different element to it. It's nice to have all the pouches just ever so slightly off from each other. It gives it so much more depth. Right, Baneblade Brown, another subtle difference for yet another pouch. He's carrying a lot of pouches, but as you can see, they're all easily accessible. And if I recall right, I was thinking, well, I can't wait to get onto the shade washes to kind of give this model a bit more depth. So he's really coming on at this stage there, thinking, yeah, I can get him finished today. Right, Agarex Earthshade. Now this is going to go over all the pouches and scrolls and belt, you know, anything that's leather or parchment really. And that's what I wanted to do, and that gives it so much more depth and really makes it stand out a lot more. I do love the shade washes stage. That's a nice easy stage to do as well, even when you're just applying it in like certain areas like I'm doing here now. Okay, Null Noil was the shade wash I used for the quill. I must have misplaced that footage, but it was just Null Noil, so it's the only difference. The black on the white I feel works best. And then I swap brushes and I put the Null Noil along the base. That's before I go to dry brush it, of course, which I will be doing, which will make it more in line with the other miniatures I've got. So there we go. Right, Retributor armor, a nice gold pair of glasses, or eyeglasses. He's got that. I wanted him to have a gold pair. I want him to be a little bit not ostentatious, but I don't know, not look like he's not poor, if you know what I mean. So I want him to have a gold pair of spectacles. show he's he's got a little bit of wealth about his person, or stashed away somewhere, or he'd have it in his bank, the bank of whatever city he lives in. Alright, gunmetal by Game Colour. Now this is for the buckles and things, and clips. So there's the buckle on his belt, and there's a couple of clips on a couple of the different pouches, and that's what I wanted to use that for. I wasn't going to go any brighter than that, like with a Rune Fang steel or a Stormhost silver or anything like that. I didn't want to do that. I just want to have the bare base colour gunmetal there, which is like lead belcher really. And I'm just doing a couple of the clips on his pouch there. So there we go. I forget what colour that was actually. It's the brown going up to do the strap on that patch, and just it was just slightly lighter than the Rakar flesh, and just a little bit of edge highlighting on the edge of the scrolls there, and that's all it was. It's really easy. When you get a brown, you just look for a slightly lighter one, or you just put a dollop of white in it. Right, now Towlight Ochre, Avalon Sunset and Lemea Medium, all in equal proportions, just like a blob of each. And I wanted that to do the middle section of his robe, so that's why you can see that there. I didn't show mixed it. It's just literally one average brush load of each, because I wanted it to be not overtly yellow, not overtly orange. I wanted it to be kind of a bit of a mixture of the two, and I wanted the Lemea Medium to kind of keep them together, still give me that control I need for the middle section of this robe he's wearing, like so. Longbeard grey. This is obviously what I use to dry brush the base, which is how I do most of my miniatures, by the way. And also I was using it to do a bit of a dry brush along the cloak and some edges of his robe as well. It's only subtle, just to accentuate the highlights that are already in place from the contrast paint. So it's just literally bringing out a little more, that's all, without having to do too much work, which is what I like about these contrast paints. You can use them on their own as they are, or you can use them as part of what you do anyway, and just make life a little bit easier for yourself. So I'm just dry brushing the robes, just ever so lightly, light dusting, like so. Okay, game ink. So I wanted to use an ink on that middle section of his robe, and I used the yellow ink. I wanted it to really settle into the middle section of it, and it will run down, hopefully with the lighter area being on top, hopefully representing how cloth fades in the lights, in the sunlight, in the natural sunlight. Later on I did go in and put a witchwood streak down the middle of it, just for good measure, because I just wanted it to have that extra line on it, I suppose. But I was very happy with it at this stage. All in all, I'm very happy with how he turned out. I really think he looks good, and he's going to be a great little NPC for my future D&D games. Actually, he's already in my D&D games, but now I'll have a model to represent him, or a better model, I should say, to represent him, and that's more how I envisage him looking. He's very eccentric, a bit mad, and he's kind of like the town know-it-all, knows a bit of everything, knows a bit of everyone, and yeah, he's not a bad guy though. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Remember, all brushes lead to war. Check out my other videos, and bye for now. Bye bye.